And now we're coming practically to the final conclusion of the questions and answers. So we'll begin from the first. So what is the topmost knowledge? So,
प्रभु कहे कौन विद्या विद्या मध्य सार राय कहे कृष्ण भक्ति बिना विद्या नहीं आर.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, of all types of knowledge, which is the most important? Ramananda Rai replied, Krishna Bhakti is the essence of all knowledge. Apart from this, there is no other type of knowledge. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, commentary now. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that in the first line, Mahaprabhu asks a question, and in the second line, Sri Ramananda Rai gives the answer. Mahaprabhu asked, which type of knowledge is the topmost? And Rai replied, apart from knowledge of Krishna Bhakti, there is no other knowledge. This means that although the jiva is an eternal servant of Sri Krishna, because of Sri Krishna's external or illusory potency, the jiva forgets his constitutional position and considers his temporary gross body to be his eternal identity. This is also described in Jivadhamma in the first and second chapters. It's called Nishag, this illusion about my identity. And the beautiful example is given of a block of ice. If we can imagine water to have consciousness, which it has, if the block of ice has been frozen in the Antarctic, for example, an iceberg, then if you ask its identity, it will consider itself hard. It's been a block of ice for centuries. It's been hard for many, many years. We have also been in this material consciousness for many, many years. We consider ourselves to be this material body. But just like the block of ice, if a warm current comes of Guru's mercy, that block of ice will melt to its original swabhav, its original nature of liquid. It'll come back to its original swabhav. Similarly, if the warm current of Gurudev's mercy touches our hearts, they will melt, and we'll come back to our original swabhav, our original nature. Jivera Surup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas, an eternal servant of Krishna. So this Nishag has been covering us. This is a very beautiful word which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us in the Jivadhamma. That knowledge about how to become situated in one's pure eternal form from such a condition, yes, how do we get out of that condition of Nishag, and to realize one's nature as being a servant of Krishna? This constitutes sadhana. This is sadhana. But as we said before, the sadhana has to be focused on bhav. If sadhana is not being focused on bhav bhakti, the sadhana bhakti is actually zero, because what is the sadhana focused on then? Liberation, or just material happiness. Specifically, the performance of bhakti to Sri Krishna. This is the sadhana. By this knowledge, one can understand Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva. What are these three? These are the three vastus. My Gurudev has said that in Jivadhamma there's 40 chapters, and the first chapter out of all those 40 is the most important. It's the first chapter that's discussing Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, and Bhagavat Tattva. These three vastus. And what is the relationship? What is the sambandha between the three? What is my relationship with Krishna? What is my relationship with the material energy? What is Krishna's relationship with the material energy? What is Krishna's relationship with the jiva? What is the material nature's relationship with Krishna and the jiva? So these considerations create or establish sambandha gyan. We cannot move forward without this knowledge. Knowledge has to be there. Without this knowledge, there's just vacancy. All the mercy is there, but we have to appreciate how to capture it. What is it that we want? Exactly. And all other tattvas progressively. Ultimately, the unconquerable Sri Krishna is controlled by the Shuddha Bhakti of a devotee. The knowledge of Vidya, which is above all others, is knowledge of the nature of devotion, bhakti. So the answer to the question is knowledge of bhakti. What is the greatest type of knowledge was the question. And apart from Krishna bhakti, there is no other knowledge. Material knowledge, Jad Vidya, leads to material enjoyment, but that Vidya, which gives knowledge of Vishnu Bhakti, is far superior, and even knowledge of the impersonal Brahman, Brahm Vidya, which is beyond any material knowledge. This is higher. Brahma Vidya is higher than this Jad Vidya. However, even superior to knowledge of Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva is like Lord Narayan and the Purusha avatars, etc. But knowledge of Krishna Bhakti, this is the supreme. Srimad Bhagavatam supports this Siddhanta in so many places.
Tat karma haritosham yat sa vidya tanmatiryaya.
Srimad Bhagavatam 4:29-49. Factual work or karma is that by which one can satisfy Sri Hari. Factual vidya or not vidya or knowledge is that by which one's mind is absorbed in Bhagavan. Absorbed. Absorption, ultimately 24 hours a day.
Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam pada sevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam iti pumsarpita Vishnu bhaktischain navalakshana kriyeta bhagavat adha tan manye aditam uttamam.
Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5-23-24. Sri Prahlad Maharaj says, the bhakti of Bhagavan Vishnu has 9 limbs: hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving his lotus feet, offering the Lord respectful worship, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, becoming his friend, and surrendering everything unto him. If one performs these 9 limbs of devotion with a mood of surrender, then we should know this to be the topmost knowledge of the scriptures. His cultivation of the scriptures is successful. Remember the question, what is knowledge? What is the topmost knowledge? Ramananda Roy is giving this answer. It is also described here.
Idam hi pumsat tapasa srutasya va svitasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichyote artha kavibhir nirupito yat uttama shloka gunanu varnanam.
This is Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-22. This is the conversation between Narad and Vyas. Learned persons accept as the pinnacle of knowledge the very best verses which describe Sri Krishna's qualities and activities. Vyasadeva was despondent, lamenting because he hadn't described directly the qualities of Krishna and his activities. He described principally Gyan Kand. Therefore he was feeling despondent at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad came and dispelled that despondency. In the following verses spoken between Sriman Mahaprabhu and Sri Ramananda Rai, there is a gradation and comparison between the relative worth of material objects and transcendental objects, as well as a discussion of subject matter affiliated with Golok and Sri Krishna's unmotivated devotional service. It's a gradation. Step by step we're moving through. The material conception is thus defeated and the worth of transcendence is established. This is Mahaprabhu's greatest compassion. What is the most glorious act?
Kirti gana madhye jiver kon bada kirti Krishna bhakta baliya yahar haya khyati.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked, out of all glorious activities of the jiva, which is the greatest? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, to be called a devotee of Lord Krishna is the topmost glory of the jiva. In the material world, there are many, many glories that may be attributed to a jiva, like wealth, wonderful qualities, intelligence, or fame. However, all such reputation is related to this material body. Upon the body's demise, this fame is destroyed along with it. It's very interesting. If you reach the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 2 chapters with long lists of great, great, glorious kings in the past, and they've just been reduced to a little bit of ink on a page now. These kings were glorious in their time. They had empires, etc. So great was their apparent control. And yet now, historically, they're just simply reduced to some ink on a page. And we get list after list after list after list that Shukadev is enumerating. So this is a fascinating appreciation. How temporary is this reputation and material acclaim and control, etc. The greatest form of fame in this world is therefore to become a premi bhakta, because such fame is directly related to the soul, which is eternal. It's an eternal fame that will be quality, which will be manifested. The soul is unending and eternal. Factually, it is composed of eternality, knowledge and bliss, Sat Chit Anandamaya. Since the soul is never destroyed, the devotees of Sri Krishna are likewise never destroyed. Devotees of Krishna are just like a boat, and one cannot know how many jivas they shelter and ferry across the ocean of birth and death. The devotees alone secure the qualification to serve their worshipful Lord. Performing such service, they successfully dispel lamentation, illusion, and attachment forever. These are the great anarthas, the great illusions that are covering the conditioned jiva. And that premi bhakti, will be able to dispel this illusion and attachment forever. What a wonderful consideration. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:19-40 says, Vidyatmani bidaha. Knowledge of the soul nullifies duality. Knowledge, we must have knowledge. Vidya, the Sangvit Shakti. The bliss, the Hladini Shakti cannot manifest until the Sangvit Shakti has entered the material mental quantum and then come into the heart region where it mixes with the Hladini. You can't just straight expect to have the bliss of realization without having knowledge of Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, Krishna Tattva, etc. To be known as a devotee of Sri Krishna is the greatest fame. It is the Jiva's considered opinion, due to his greed for material objects of sense enjoyment, that service to inert matter constitutes the greatest fame. This is what they consider. Actually, the best position is to be known as a Vishnu Bhakta, which is superior even to the topmost fame within this material world. Remember Alexander the Great. He was a great general. He conquered so many countries and created his empire. And yet, at the time of his death, he ordered his 6 physicians who were there to prolong his life to carry his funeral pyre. What do you call it? Pyre. To carry his funeral pyre, so that all could witness that the doctors could not save him. They had to carry him. He wanted everyone to understand that no one can save us. Everyone must leave this mortal world. No one can save us. This means to be afforded the position of a knower of Brahman. This is actually Brihaspati is described, a knower of Brahman. Yet greater than the glory of being a devotee of Sri Vishnu is to be renowned as a devotee of Sri Krishna. Indra states in Garuda Purana,
Kalau Bhagavatam Nama Durlabham Naiva Labhyate Brahma Rudra Pado Kristam Guruna Katitam Mama.
In this age of Kali, it is extremely rare to find one who is celebrated as an excellent devotee or a Bhagavat. However, such a position is superior to that of the major demigods like Brahma and Mahadev. The major demigods don't have access to this pure current of bhakti because their spiritual master, Brihaspati, is described as being Brahman realized. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, he'll manifest. They'll all think, oh, he's a great, great personality. But they consider the void, empty Brahman, or filled with Shantaras, is actually superior. We see in Indra's case. He begs Krishna forgiveness when he's tried to murder the residents of Braj. And then 2 weeks later, Krishna asked him for a parijat flower. He refuses. So what is their nishta, even towards Vishnu, ultimately? In the Itihasya Samuchaya, in the conversation between Shri Narad and Pundarik, Shri Narad says,
Janmantara sahasreshu yasya syad buddhir idrishi dasoham vasudevasya sarvan lokan samuddaret.
I am Bhagavan's, Vasudev's servant. A person who realizes this after thousands and thousands of births can deliver the entire universe. Wonderful. In the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, as recorded in the Adi Purana, it states, Bhaktanam anugachanti muktaya shrutibir saha. The liberated souls, Mukta Purushas, and the Vedic literatures follow the footsteps of the devotees of the Lord. Shastra follows the devotees of the Lord. In Brihat Naradiya Purana, it is further stated,
Adyapi cha muni shreshta brahmadya api devataha prabhavam na vijananti Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam.
Until today, even the great sages and demigods such as Brahma did not know the influence of a devotee absorbed in Vishnu bhakti, what to speak of Krishna bhakti. The Garuda Purana similarly states,
Brahmanam sahasrebhya satra yaji vishishyate satra yaji sahasrebhya sarva vedanta paraga sarva vedanta vitkotya Vishnu bhakto vishishyate Vaishnavanam sahasrebhya ekant eko vishishyate ekantinastu purusha gachanti paramapadam.
out of thousands of Brahmanas, one who is qualified to perform sacrifices is the best. And out of many thousands of such qualified Brahmanas, one who is learned in the Vedanta is considered the best among all. Out of thousands of such knowledgeable Brahmanas, one who is a devotee of Lord Vishnu is the best. And out of many thousands of devotees of Vishnu, one who is a one-pointed Vaishnava is the best. Indeed, such an unalloyed Vaishnava certainly attains the supreme destination. So we should consider the height of the goal that we are aspiring for. Sometimes the devotees become despondent. They consider that this is so high a path, and here it's been enumerated just how high this path is. We've come through the whole staircase, and now we're hearing about what is knowledge and who is the person who is qualified to take knowledge. Ultimately, the teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who gave the mood of devotion through his Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satatam yuktanam braucham piti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. One who worships me constantly with love and devotion, I will give the intelligence by which he can come to me. Every single verse, practically, of this Sri Bhagavad Gita, with the supporting explanations by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, establishing the platform, and then going beyond that faith in Krishna as the Supreme Lord, bringing that conception into Vrindavan of Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar, because there is such a distinction between the two. Parthasarathi, Krishna, on the battlefield with Arjuna, is a different personality. He's the same person, but he's expressing a different quality as Brajendranandan. So through this Ramananda Rai Sangvad, we're coming to an even higher conclusion. The very highest, topmost consideration of Brajendranandan Shyam in Vrindavan. And we are hearing now about the doorway to access service to that realm of Vrindavan through the Anugatya of the Braja Ramanis, the gopis of Vrindavan. This is our pathway. So this is the conclusion, the concluding words of this Ramananda Rai Sangha. And there's many pages here describing and verses accentuating the description of knowledge. What is knowledge? And what is higher? What is higher? We need to understand the different gradations, because there are so many levels. If we sit in a room full of 10 or 15 or 20 people, even 3 or 4 people, we appreciate the different degrees of adhikar in each person. It's a very unique situation. But now we're being exposed to the very highest consideration that is possible to achieve. So Sri Ramananda Rai Sangvad ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. So now we've come to these questions and answers in our Rai Ramananda Sangvad study. Most of scriptures, so many scriptures, are in this same format of questions and answers. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadev Goswami, and Sutta Goswami is answering. In Jaivadama also, Brajanath is asking Babaji, and later on he's asking Gopal Guru Maharaj. So, and throughout in the Vedanta also this prashna, questions, and uttara, which is answers. Sometimes it's described as doubts. They're putting a doubt, samshaya is doubt, and then the doubt will be reconciled. So this is the formula for absorbing these truths. And we also, in the relationship with our Guru Maharaj, we would also be prompted to constantly ask questions. And even today, it's very encouraging for each other when we ask each other various questions. It's question and answer, question and answer. So here we've reached this chapter. So just to reiterate again, I'm saying so many times to create the impression of the staircase that we've walked through, so we'll have it impressed in our consciousnesses for life. So the first proposition of what is the ultimate goal of life is Varnashram Dham, then Nishkarma Karma Yoga, Sharanagat, then Gyan Mishra Bhakti, then Shunya Mishra Bhakti, then Prema Bhakti, then Dasya Sakya Vatsalya and Madhurya, or Krishna Kanta, or Kanta Prem. And then the Prem of Sri Radhika. What is her Prem? Because Radhika holds the highest love. She is the initiator of love for Krishna. That's why Mahaprabhu manifests his pastimes, so he can relish her love. So what is the nature of her love is the next question after this Kanta Prem. And then Ramananda Rai, through the prompting of Mahaprabhu, begins to explain what is Krishna Tattva, what is Radha Tattva, what is Prema Tattva, and what is Prem Vilas Vivart. And this is the sadhya. So in our reflection later on, we can constantly be reviewing the sadhya, because without the clear focus on the sadhya, why should you make the endeavor to make the journey if you don't know conclusively where you're going? We have to know conclusively. So the sadhya is paramount to appreciate. So this Prem Vivart Vilas, or Prem Vilas Vivart, needs to be studied repeatedly, because today we will have a certain appreciation of it. Tomorrow, that appreciation will have deepened. And the next day, each day. This is the remarkable nature of this transcendental knowledge. It's never, ever static. It's not like, yes, I know that, I've been there, I've done that. That's absurd. Everything is rolling forward. It's ecstatic. Otherwise, it's not a reality. If we find ourselves in our practices, have come to some sort of plateau or static place, we should be very concerned that that quickly gets purified and we're encouraged to go deeper, go further. Love has no limit. It's like a fathomless ocean. And the more we actually delve into this ocean, the deeper we are going to be able to go. But we have to take the initiative. We have to have the greed. We have to have that constant enthusiasm. And principally, that comes from the gift of Mahaprabhu by Nam Bhajan. This Nam Bhajan is miraculous. It will stir the heart to enthusiasm daily, 100%. Every single day, our enthusiasm will be increasing and increasing and increasing. Then we will feel, yes, I am pleasing my Gurudev. If I feel even 10% I'm pleasing Gurudev, then my heart is peaceful. Then I'm happy. I can never please Gurudev. Gurudev's expectancy of us was so high. How can we come to that standard that he desired for us? But even if I reach 10% or 15%, then I will feel very satisfied in my heart. Yes, I'm progressing. Gurudev is there always. So to go deeper every day. And the way to progress is by questions and answers. This is the Abhideya. So this is the section, the final section basically, that we're up to. Mahaprabhu is himself sharing the questions. And now we're into the question, what is the topmost knowledge? And there's many pages, there's many verses. What is the topmost knowledge? Without this education in what is Gyan, what is knowledge, how can we erect the pillars of Rasa Tattva? Without knowledge. Knowledge must be there of Shastra. So we can listen carefully to this praman for knowledge that we're going to hear in this chapter. So we're on page 210 of the Ramananda Rai Sangvad book. So yesterday we reached the verse
211, Maharaj.
211, sorry. That's my closest. From the Garuda Purana, you said that verse?
Finished that.
We finished that. So I'll just read the translation from the verse that we read yesterday, in the middle of page 211. This Brahmanam Sahasrebhya Satra Yaji Vishishyate. Out of thousands of Brahmanas, one who is qualified to perform sacrifice is best. And out of many thousands of such qualified Brahmanas, one who is learned in the Vedanta is considered the best among all. Out of thousands of such knowledgeable Brahmanas, one who is a devotee of Lord Vishnu is the best. And out of many thousands of devotees of Vishnu, one who is a one-pointed Vaishnava is the best. Indeed, such an unalloyed Vaishnava certainly attains the supreme destination. So throughout Shastra, it's proclaiming that the Vaishnavas ultimately they hold the ultimate crest jewels, which are the teachings of Rupa Goswami Pad, given in the heart by Sachinandan Gaurahari. There is no other higher teachings than this. All the way through, we look historically from the different ages. It's only Mahaprabhu who is giving this enormous gift of Braja Prem. So now we move forward. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.13.4, it is stated,
Srutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nanam jasa suribhir iditokta tat gunanu shravanam mukunda पादारविन्दं हृदयेषु येषाम्.
O Muni, hearing the qualities of a devotee in whose heart the lotus feet of Sri Mukunda are always present is the main fruit of one who has undergone long, hard endeavor in the study of the scriptures. This is the opinion of learned persons. And then again, in the Narayan Vyuha Stava, it is said,
नाहं ब्रह्मापि भूयसां त्वद्भक्तिरहितो हरे त्वयि भक्तस्तु कीटोऽपि भूयासं जन्म जन्मसु.
I do not aspire to take birth as Brahma. If I am born as a Brahma devoid of devotion, if I am to be a Brahma devoid of devotion, I am praying to get the association of your devotees, even if I have to take thousands of births as an insect. Only this devotion, this bhakti to the Supreme, is going to satisfy the heart. Nothing else.
स्वधर्मनिष्ठा सतजन्म विपुमान् विरिञ्चताम् एति ततः परमं हिमाम् अव्यकृतं भागवतोत वैष्णवं पदं यताहं विबुध कलायये.
Srimad Bhagavatam 4:24-29. Sri Mahadev says to Sri Maitreya, a person who properly executes his occupational duty or Varnashram Dharma for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. And if he becomes even more pious, he can approach me, Lord Shiva. A person who is an unalloyed devotee of Sri Vishnu is immediately promoted after death to the supreme destination, which is completely beyond the material universe. I myself, in my Rudra form, as well as other ruling demigods, attain these planets only after the destruction of this material world and our positions within it. So this pralaya or mahapralaya is the only time that the devas can attain something beyond this material world. The devas, we understand, are burning up their boga results, their credits, boga yoni. They're the species of pleasure, and they cannot attain bhakti from Swagaloka. So when the Mahapralaya takes place, then they have the opportunity to be reborn, or when their pious credits expire, they can take birth in this karma yoni atmosphere of this earthly planet, and then from here attain to the spiritual realms.
Shriyam anucharitim tadartinascha dvipadapatin vibudhamscha yat swapurna na bhajati nijabritya vargatantraha katam amum udvisrujet puman kritagnya.
By nature, Bhagavan is completely full of bliss. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who always remains engaged in his service, or for the kings who perform everything to attain her favor, or for the other demigods. Despite this, he becomes dependent on his devotees. Aho, how could a person who is actually grateful be able to leave Sri Hari, who is such an ocean of mercy, even for a moment? So the fallacious idea that we actually fell from Vaikuntha or fell from the spiritual world is refuted here. If we are in front of Krishna, how for a single moment would we be able to leave such a divine audience? How would we leave Sri Krishna? So this is an absurd philosophy which is supported by no one in our Gaudiya line from Rupa Goswami down. There's only one society who propounds this bogus idea. that we fell from the spiritual world. This means that they're not having an appreciation of the nature of the spiritual world. The nature of the spiritual world is only made of love. There is nothing else. They have no consciousness of the material energy. Jivadharma chapter 16 is clearly saying this. Clearly. And this is in line with all the predecessor acharyas. So the idea that was concocted, completely concocted, because Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he never says this. We see in Canto 7, Chapter 1, verse 35, it's saying in the first paragraph of the purport, it is a fact that no one falls from Vaikuntha. How much more direct proof do we need of this truth? So, did we read the next one?
No.
In the words of Sri Brahma,
Tadastu me nata sabhuri bago bhavetrvanyatra tuva tirascham yenaham ekopi bhavach jananam bhutva nisheve tava pada pallavam.
this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 14, 30. What I've just explained a little bit about Jiva Tattva is a part of the knowledge. Knowledge constitutes Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Shakti Tattva, etc. This is the constitution of knowledge. Therefore, O Bhagavan, I pray to be so fortunate that in this life or the next, whether I take birth as any kind of bird or beast, I may be a servant of any of your servants, and again be able to engage in devotional service to your lotus feet. There's nothing else except devotional service for the inspired, conditioned soul. In regard to Sri Prahlad being the best of all devotees, Sri Rudra says,
Bhakta eva hi tatvena Krishnam janati natvaham sarveshu hari bhakteshu prahladoti mahattamaha.
Skanda Purana. A devotee is one who understands Krishna in truth, these various tattvas that we're discussing. I am not among them. Amongst all of Sri Hari's devotees, Prahlad Maharaj is the best. I'll read that again. A devotee is one who understands Krishna in truth. I am not among them. Prahlad is feeling humbled. Amongst all of Sri Hari's devotees, Prahlad Maharaj is the best. Okay, in addition,
Kwaham rajat prabhava isha tamodikesmin jata suretara kule kwa tavanukampa na brahmano natu bhavasya navai ramaya yanmer pita sirasi padmakara prasadaha.
this previous verse in Skanda Purana, I believe, is spoken by Mahadev himself. And he's saying in his humility that he is not a great devotee, but that Prahlad Maharaj is. So he's directing Narad to take shelter of Prahlad, not himself. So now this last verse was 7, 9, 26, which is again is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, "O my Lord, just look at my position. I was born in a demoniac family full of the hellish material qualities of passion and ignorance. What is to be said of your causeless mercy? You are glorious. You offered your supreme mercy and kept your lotus hand on my head. This is the topmost reward and fully removes material miseries. You never did this for Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or even Lakshmi Dev." So Prahlad Maharaj is expressing his amazement that he's been benedicted with this, even though he was born in such a low family of a demon race.
Bhavanti purusha loke madbhaktas tvam anuvrataha bhavan me kalu bhaktanam sarvesham pratirupadrik.
Srimad Bhagavatam 7:10-21. Bhagavan Sri Nrsingadev is saying, "O my son Prahlad, the people in this material world who will follow your example will become my devotees. You are an ideal for all of my devotees. This is why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he's told us that we should read this Prahlad Charita at least 100 times in our lives. He is the example of what quality? Nishta. This quality of Nishta is what Prahlad is demonstrating in his life. Absolute Nishta. The Pandavas are far superior even to Bhakta Prahlad.
Yuyam nriloke bata bhuri bhaga lokam punana munayo biyanti yesham grihan avasatiti sakshat gudam param brahma manushya lingam sava ayam brahma mahatvim griya kaivalya nirvana sukhanubhutihi priya sukhridva khalu matuleya Atmarahaniyo vidikrit guruscha. So
my Gurudev is walking through the steps described in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, when Narad is inquiring from the different personalities who is that highest devotee. So the spiritual master of the demigods, Sri Narada Muni, said to the Pandavas, O Yudhisthira, of all the people on this earth planet, your good fortune is exceedingly glorious, because the absolute truth, Parabrahm, the all-pervading Supersoul, has taken a human form and secretly lives in your palace. Great saintly persons who purify the entire creation again and again visit you and your palace for his darshan. Greatly saintly persons continuously search for him, the Paramatma and Brahman. We say this verse, Aho Bhagyam, Nanda Gopa, at Hoxajam, this verse. And the all-peaceful embodiment of topmost ecstasy, who is completely devoid of even the slightest trace of Maya. That same Krishna, Sri Krishna, for whom they search, is your beloved friend, well-wisher, your maternal cousin, worshipful deity, obedient servant, and spiritual master. Indeed, he is like your very own self. Superior to the Pandavas are the Yadavas. Then it's the verse, isn't it?
Aho bhojapate yuyam janma bhajo nrunam iha yat pasyatyasahrit krishnam durdarsham api yoginam.
Getting that verse. Aho bhagyam, nanda gopa prajokshanam, yanmitram paramanandam, purnam brahma sanatanam. So this is the verse that Narad is saying to the Pandavas. How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men, and all the other inhabitants of Brajbhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal supreme Brahm, has become their friend. So Narad is also quoting this verse in relationship to Nanda Baba, of how exceptionally great he is. So this is Bhagavatam 10:82-28. At the time of the solar eclipse at Kurukshetra, the assembled earthly kings said, O king of the Bhojas, Ugrasen, among all the men of this world, only the lives of you Yadus are truly successful. You are glorious, you are greatly blessed, because you continuously behold Sri Krishna, who is rarely visible even to great yogis. So this is the glorification of bhakti and those who have embraced pure bhakti. The Yadus, for example, are extremely fortunate personalities. They live with Krishna in Dwarka. They glorify him daily. So next verse.
Tadarshana sparshanupata prajalpa sayya sanasana sayuna sapinda bandha yesham grihe niraya vartmani वर्ततां वः स्वर्गोपवर्गविरामः स्वयं आस विष्णुः.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:82-30. O Ugrasena, you have marital and blood relationships with Sri Krishna. Not only that, you constantly see and touch him, and you walk, talk, sleep, sit, and dine with him. You are caught in the net of family affairs, which is the path to hell. But in your palace, the all-pervading Lord Vishnu, the mere darshan of whom makes one forget about residence in heaven and liberation, has taken one form and resides there with you. Uddhava is superior to the Yadus. So we're walking through this staircase that is described in the Brihat Bhagavatamrita. Actually begins with Dhruva Maharaj, this Sakam Bhakta. And then it comes to Prahlad Maharaj, who is a Siddha, but he's in Shantaras. His quality is Nishta, as we've described. And then following Prahlad Maharaj is Ambarish. Ambarish is a sadhak. He's not a siddha, but he's performing his bhajan in Braj. And then we have Hanumanji, who is a Rag Atmika, because his Atma is soaked in Rag. So Hanumanji, his exemplary devotion to Sri Ram is demonstrated. And then following Hanuman, we have the 5 Pandavas. This is, I forgot the name. And then after the Pandavas, we have Uddhav, this prematur, this very, very eager affection and love. But then after Uddhav even, then there are the Brijbasis, then it goes into a whole nother gradation. So this is the gradation that is given to us in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. But my Gurudev is going through these to show us the nature of knowledge. This is a question about knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of devotion. So who is the most devoted? Is it Prahlad? Is he the most devoted? Actually, beyond Prahlad, it's Ambarish. And then beyond Ambarish is Hanuman, etc., the Pandavas, Uddhav. And beyond Uddhav are the Brijbasis. And within the Brijbasis, there's gradation. There's the Dasya servants. And then there's the Sakas. Then there's Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba. And highest are the gopis. And amongst the gopis, there is Chandravali and Sri Radha. And amongst them, there is Sri Radha. So again, gradation. This makes it very simple for us to walk through these truths and capture them deeply. Okay, so Uddhav is superior to the Yadus.
न तथा मे प्रियतमा आत्मयोनिर्न शंकरः न च संकर्षणो न श्री नैवात्मा च यथा भवान.
O Uddhav, as a Premi Bhakta, you are more dear to me than my son Brahma, than Shankar, than my real brother Balaram, and then Lakshmi, who is my wife. You are more dear to me than my own self. Krishna is expressing this. This is a stage for us to appreciate the highest stage. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:16-29, Sri Krishna says, Tvam tu bhagavat eshu aham. O Uddhav, you represent me amongst my premi bhaktas. Indeed, you are me. And also again in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:4-31, Nodavo api man nyuno. Uddhav, you are not even fractionally less than me. Krishna is proclaiming this. But superior to Sri Uddhav are the gopis of Braj.
Eta param tanubrito bhuvi gopavadvo govinda eva nikilatmani ruda bhavaha vanchanti yad bhava bhiyo munaya vayam cha kim brahma janmabhir anantakata rasasya.
Sri Uddhav prayed, of all embodied beings upon this earth, these gopis are certainly the best, and they alone are successful, because they have the utmost divine ecstasy named Mahabhav for the soul of all souls, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Their most exalted loving position is coveted not only by those who are desirous of liberation due to being afraid of material existence, not only by great saints and liberated Mukta Purushas, but also by devotees such as myself. However, we are unable to achieve it. If one cannot achieve the ras emanating from topics of the Katha of Bhagavan, then what is the benefit of taking birth again and again as Lord Brahma and having a lifespan of millions of births? What is the point? Unless we can appreciate this knowledge. The question is, Mahaprabhu is asking, what is knowledge? So this knowledge is being unpacked by my Gurudev very systematically here, going through the different gradations of devotion, because ultimately devotion, bhakti, knowledge of devotion, this is the principal knowledge that is the only worthwhile pursuit in this world. So in Brihat Vamana Purana, Sri Brahma says to Bhrigu and the other rishis,
Shashti Varsha Sahasrani Maya Taptam Tapapuram Nanda Gopa Vrajastrinam Padarenu Palabdyate Tathapi Namaya Praptastasam Vaipadarena Vaham Naham Shivascha Seshascha Srischa Tabi Samakvachit.
although I performed severe austerities for 60,000 years to attain the dust of the Brajagopis' lotus feet, I was unable to attain it. You should clearly understand that I, Brahma, Shankar, Shesha, Lakshmi, are not equal to the Brajagopis. And the Brajagopis engage in Parakiya Ras. These are the topmost respectable personalities in the universe, and they are glorifying the Brajadevis, the Brajagopis. So what is the position of that Parakiya Ras? We should purify any misconception or hesitation about its nature and fully appreciate the surrendered mood that the gopis are able to demonstrate by leaving all of their material lives, their families, etc. This Shamshaya, cutting off all material shackles and running to Krishna. Their love is the highest in existence. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the highest exhibition of love is shown by the gopis of Vrindavan. This is our path. Our path is love alone. So we are looking at who holds the highest conception of love. And previous to this chapter, we talked about the under the guidance of the Sakhis. So this is a continuation of that understanding. It's only by the Sakhis, the Braja Gopis, this Gopi Anugatya. In the Adi Purana, Sri Bhagavan says,
Na tatame priyatamo brahma rudrascha parthiva na cha lakshmir na chatma cha yata gopi jano mama.
O Partha, Arjuna, not even Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi Dev, or even my own self is as dear to me as the gopis of Braj. So understand, when Krishna is saying like this, he means it each time. He says that Uddhav is the greatest devotee, and he means that. He is the greatest devotee. But simultaneously he will say to the Brajadevis, you are the greatest. You are my heart and soul. And he will even say amongst the gopis to each one individually, you are my heart and soul. And that is completely how Krishna feels. And the next one is also his heart and soul, and so on. So try to reconcile this. Among the Brajagopis, Srimati Radhika is the most excellent, and Sri Krishna is indeed her dear most beloved. Taking her mood and complexion, he came as Sri Gauranga, whose topmost confidential servitor is Sri Rupa Goswami Pad. Sri Rupa's single-pointed followers are widely celebrated as Rupanugas, and he is described thus in Chaitanya Chandramrita.
Astam vairagya koti भवतु समधम क्षांति मैत्रादि कोटिः तत्वानुध्यान कोटिः भवतु भवतु वा वैष्णवी भक्ति कोटिः कोट्यंशोऽपि अस्य न स्यात् तदपि गुणगणो यस्वतः सिद्ध आस्ते श्रीमच्चैतन्य चंद्र प्रिया चरण नख ज्योतिर आमोद भाजम.
Persons who are receiving the bliss coming from the rays of the effulgent toenails of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beloved devotees are fully qualified with all transcendental qualities. This is our Guru Varga. The unlimited good qualities that are found in the devotees of Vishnu, such as strong renunciation, equanimity, sense control, forgiveness, and friendship with all living entities, even if multiplied millions of times, cannot be compared to a fraction of the transcendental attributes of those who are the recipients of the mercy of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is knowledge. This is knowledge. Knowledge of who is a Vaishnava. Knowledge of what is transcendental knowledge. What is transcendental prem. All what we have been through in this Ramananda Rai Sangvad. This is all the fundamental structure of knowledge. This is what we need to be well versed and very familiar with. We should go through this many times, have it inscribed, have the whole sequence very, very clear of what is divine transcendental knowledge. Now we come to the third question. What is the greatest treasure?
Okay. 246 or 247. संपत्तिरा मध्ये जीवेर कौन संपत्ति गनी राधा कृष्ण प्रेम यार से बड़ा धनी.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, of all the different varieties of riches, what is the greatest treasure of the jiva? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, whoever possesses the wealth of prem to Sri Radha and Krishna is the wealthiest. So now, commentary, my Gurudev. In this world, the jivas possess many sorts of wealth, but these material riches are destructible. From the ancient past till now, they have not given anyone any real happiness, nor shall they ever do so in the future. Never mind the ordinary jivas, Indra's opulences, and Lord Brahma's own planet are destructible, and thus are merely fleeting. This whole universe will destruct at the time of the Mahapralaya. The demigods, they live for 307, 308 million years, one Manvantara. And then when that Manvantara is concluded, a whole new set of demigods will manifest. So the demigods are not eternal. No, nothing is eternal. What to speak of riches in this world? When we appreciate the eternality, the splendor and power of our eternal selves, anything material is completely insignificant. Such wealth may be destroyed at any moment, yet whoever possesses the wealth of prem to Sri Radha and Krishna is truly the wealthiest person. Even if today someone is very wealthy, actually in a moment their wealth can be lost. The banks, etc. in the world, they can close, they can fold, they can just collapse.
Share market crashes.
Yes, share market crashes. So many things can happen on the planet. Why can we depend for a moment on any material wealth? If you have material wealth, invest it in supporting Krishna's teachings in the world. Even Swayam Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, who is the wealth of the wealthy, personally runs behind such a person. In actual fact, such a premi bhakta is able to bestow his incalculable wealth of prem upon another and making completely happy forever, like Sri Guru. He can do like that. The suffering jiva is full of material desires to enjoy and is totally addicted to matter. He pursues sense gratification and so considers the attainment of material wealth to be his primary duty, isn't it? All governments are pushing economic development, etc. This is the principal idea of governments generally, and so many will fall in line behind this. But if one comprehensively deliberates upon the various categories of wealth, which with subtle spiritual discrimination, then factually no other wealth can compare to the wealth of prem for Sri Radha and Krishna.
Kim alabhyam bhagavati prasanne sriniketane tatapi tatpara rajan nahi vanchanti kinchana.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:39-2. O Parikshit, is there anything unattainable for those devotees who have pleased Sri Krishna, who is the shelter of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune? Such devotees can obtain whatever they may fancy, even though they do not desire anything. Those devotees can attain anything. Now, another question. I think it's the fourth question. What is the greatest distress?
8:247 Dukkha madhye kon dukkha haya gurutara Krishna bhakta viraha vina dukkha nahi deki para.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, of all kinds of unhappiness, which is the most distressful? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, separation from the devotee of Sri Krishna is truly the greatest misery. There is no suffering worse than this. Only those who know the essence of bhakti can really know the glories of the devotees of Sri Krishna, and they alone can appreciate the association of a devotee as being the supreme gain. No one else can understand this. Only a devotee can understand the conception of separation from another Vaishnava, from Guru. Only a devotee can understand this.
Swajivanadika prartaya Sri Vishnu jana sangate vichedena kshanan chatra na sukhamsam labhamahe.
Brihat Bhagavatamrita 1.5.54. Maharaj Sri Yudhisthira said, in fact, the association of devotees of Bhagavan Sri Krishna is more precious to us than our own life. On the other hand, due to separation from those very devotees in this world, we cannot get even a moment of happiness now. Krishna says elsewhere,
Mam anaradhya dukaratta kudumbhasakta manasaha satsanga rahito matyo vriddha seva parichyuta.
one who fails to worship me, who is overly absorbed in material life, who does not stick to the path of devotional service, who does not affiliate with saintly personalities, and who does not serve his elders, is a most unhappy fellow. So without this ingredient of seva to the Vaishnavas, seva to Sri Hari, our life is miserable. Now we'll just do this last one. Who is truly liberated?
8:248 Mukta madhye kon jiva mukta karimani Krishna prema yar se mukta shiromani.
Sri Mahaprabhu then said, out of all liberated persons, which jiva should be accepted as truly liberated? Ramananda Roy replied, he who has prem for Sri Krishna is the crown jewel of all liberated persons. Only prem is the wealth and what counts in who is truly liberated. The real meaning of mukta, or liberated soul, is one who is freed from material bondage. Those fortunate persons in whom Krishna Prem is present are factually the crown jewels among liberated personalities. Parikshit Maharaj has said,
Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayanaha sudurlabha prasantatma kotishvapi mahamune.
Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. O great sage, even out of millions of perfected and liberated persons, it is very difficult to meet a Mahapurush who is completely and exclusively dedicated to Bhagavan. Such a Premi Bhakta day and night remains immersed in the pure nectar of Krishna Prem, and by continually savoring that indescribable nectar, he becomes forgetful of his own body.
Okay. Jai prema bhayo mana mohana se vanai choda diya sabara ghara bhara bhava vibhora rahe nishi dina aura nayana bahata avirala dhara मस्त रहे अलमस्त रहे भाके पिच्चे दुलात नंद को लाला सुंदर ऐसा भक्त के हिता बहु बहुहे prasarata madana gopala.
Those who have love and affection for Madan Mohan, Sri Krishna, leave everything for him, including wife, children, relatives and home. They are always sinking in love and affection for him, and due to that love, tears continually flow from their eyes. Such devotees are always blissful, and Sri Krishna always follows behind them, wherever they may go. Madan Mohan, Sri Krishna, waits to embrace such devotees with arms wide open. This describes Sri Krishna Akashani Tasa. Krishna is attracted himself to those Premi Bhaktas. A Krishna Premi Bhakta is factually liberated in the above manner. So all of these descriptions of who is liberated. So we'll stop here today and continue the questions and answers tomorrow, Saturday. So very remarkable to consider all these questions as being part of the abhideya, part of the gift of knowledge that Mahaprabhu is presenting for the jiva's welfare. Once we know what is knowledge, who is truly liberated, these other considerations, we're coming to what is the greatest song, what is the most glorious act, etc. All of these constitute pure knowledge, and that knowledge is a jewel, a wealth, the wealth of the conditioned jivas. So Sri Rai Ramanand Samvad Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. So we've reached the questions and answers today. We've come through all the different steps and stages from Vanashram, Nishkam Kama Yoga, Sharanagat, Gyan, Mishra Bhakti, Gyan Shunya Bhakti. Did I miss one out? And then we come to Prema Bhakti, but it's in Shantaras, and then Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, or Kantak Prem. And then Radha's love for Krishna, which is the principal potency, the principal power, Shakti. Shakti means power, potency, so it's the power of love, is manifesting from Radhika, and Krishna is the recipient of that. And then we have Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, then Prem Tattva, then Vilas, Vivart Tattva, Prem Vilas, Vivart Tattva. And then we have Sakhi Bhav, we have the understanding of what is the path, the glories of the Sakhis. This is such an important chapter. The glories of the Sakhis, understanding that we are in Anugatya. We cannot begin to enter Braj without the mercy of the Sakis. The Sakis are the extensions of Srimati Radhika. They're her merciful extensions, and they appear in this world as the Manjaris in our line. And there's so many other Sakis also that appear in this world. Swarup Damodar, Lalita Saki, Rai Ramananda himself, Vishaka Saki. So these personalities are appearing to benedict us with the mercy of getting a glimpse into the immense love that Sri Radha has for Krishna. In this Prem Vivar Vilas, we hear how Radhika is running to a tamal tree to embrace it. Krishna is astonished. How high is Krishna's love? So this is what we're hearing. And the more we hear this, the more we meditate, contemplate on these topics, then the closer we can come to this Braja Prem, this Braja Ras, that Mahaprabhu has given us the passport, especially through such a rasic personality as Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. He's literally giving us entrance into these pastimes. I want to be a Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. This is what he made us repeat countless times. So perhaps not in this birth or the next birth or the next birth, but I'm setting my focus, my compass to achieve that sadhya. If the sadhya is absolutely crystal clear, then everything else will fall into sync. So the sadhya, this is what this whole Ramananda Rai Sangvad is demonstrating, is giving us. It's giving us the sadhya. And now we're coming into the abhidaya, how to attain the sadhya. So we know the verse, Kriti sadhya, bhavet sadhya bhavsa sadhanabhida, nitya siddhyasya bhavasya, prakatamriti sadhyate. So we have the potentiality to achieve this bhav bhakti. We've said many times, if our sadhana is not being focused on bhav, then our sadhana is like zero. So this bhav is having a mood for the sadhya, knowing what is the sadhya. The sadhya is prem. What type of prem? The prem of the Sakis of Braj, to serve them, to serve Lalita Vishaka, etc. So now we've come to page 221 in our Ramananda Rai Sangvad book, and we're going to hear what is the greatest song. Okay.
249. Gana madhye kon gan jivera nija dharma Radha Krishnera prema keli ye gitera marma.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, among many songs, which one is the natural activity of the living entity? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, songs that describe Sri Radha and Krishna's love-filled pastimes, Prem Keli Leela, are the vital core of all. So that bhajan we just sung is not explicitly describing their pastimes, but it's describing the urgency and the need to hear these pastimes, to enter into this Braja Prem. So without intrinsic dharma, nothing can exist. Without the intrinsic dharma of the soul cannot exist. The dharma of the soul is to love. That is its dharma. To serve the Supreme. Every question asked by Sriman Mahaprabhu referred to the soul. He never inquired using the words human beings or mankind. For the benefit of the jivas, Sriman Mahaprabhu asked about duties pertaining to the intrinsic activity, Swarup Dharma of the jiva, the internal dharma of the jiva. Therefore, it is the constitutional position of the living being to perform sankirtan, or congregational chanting of the loving pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. Owing to the great ecstasy of prem inherent within their amorous pastimes, simply hearing such songs creates an awakening within one's eternal consciousness. Thus, a song that intrinsically consists of such glorification is the real essence of all songs. Those songs that are found in Srimad Bhagavatam, such as Venu Geet, Gopi Geet, Brahmara Geet, Yugal Geet, Pranaya Geet also, are classified as being Swarup Dham, or the constitutional function of the spirit soul. Samaveda is the body of prayers that are also accepted as songs. By nature, the jiva is the eternal servant of Sri Krishna. It is therefore his factual religion to sing about the pastimes of his worshipful deity.
Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham astitaha bhajate tadrishi krida yashrutva tatparo bhave.
So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-36. This is spoken at the end of the Rasa Panchadiya. Parikshit, he's inquired from Krishna about the why has Krishna performed such audacious acts as to dance with other men's wives. And Sukadeva Goswami begins to answer in this way. In order to bestow his mercy upon the jivas, Sri Bhagavan manifests his human-like form and performs such pastimes that induce anyone who hears them to become devoted to him. The living beings, now dedicated to the Lord, become ecstatic in prema and begin to sing of his pastimes. This is the process. The best of saints, Sri Shukadeva Goswami, has said that when Sri Krishna goes to the forest for cow grazing, he gets tired from walking so far. Using a friend's lap as a pillow, he falls asleep. Some friends massage his feet, while others fan him very slowly. To please him, while he rests happily, the animals and birds sing of his amorous pastimes with Sri Radha. So now, what is the most beneficial activity?
8250 Shreya Madhye Kona Shrey Jivera Hai Sar Krishna Bhakta Sangavina Shreya Nahi Ar.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, out of all beneficial activities, which is the most favorable for the living entities? Ramananda Rai replied, there is no pursuit more auspicious than to associate with Sri Krishna's devotees. This is the sum and substance also of Jaiva Dhamma. Constantly Jaiva Dhamma is mentioning this. Shreya means auspicious. The result of affiliating with Sri Krishna's devotees is that one is able to obtain Krishna Prem. Therefore, the association of these devotees is the ultimate form of good fortune. Having forgotten his Swarup as the eternal servant of Sri Krishna, the jiva instead becomes the servant of the illusory potency Maya, and as he is ground upon the mortar of Maya, he suffers great misery. However, when the jiva gains the association of one of Sri Krishna's devotees by devotional activities, then he has performed unknowingly or even accidentally agyata sukriti. Then, under the shelter of those elevated devotees, he is gradually enabled to comprehend his state of opposition to Bhagavan, whereupon he abandons sensual happiness and begins to internalize himself. The devotees of Sri Krishna are just like veritable touchstones which convert iron into gold, and they can transform the jivas who come in their association into touchstones as well.
Manye Bhagavata Sakshat Parshadan O Madhudvisaha Vishnur Bhutani Lokanam Pavanaya Charantihi.
Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-28. This is when Maharaj Nemi, he sees the Nava Yogendras. The king of Videha, Sri Nimi Maharaj, is saying to Sri Narad, the saint among the demigods, my lord, I understand that you are indeed an eternal associate of Bhagavan, Madhusudan, because such eternal associates travel everywhere in order to purify the materialistic living entities. So in this chapter, we're introduced also to the Nava-yogendras, the 9 sons of Rishabdev, who took to the practice of yoga. Okay.
Ata atyantikam kshemam prichamo bhavato gnaha samsaresmin kshanadropi satsanga sevadir nrinam.
O great souls who purify the 3 worlds, Nimi is asking these Nava-yogendras, I ask you, what is the swarup or nature of supreme auspiciousness? And what is the sadhan to attain that? In this world, even half a moment's association with a devotee is the cause of supreme good fortune for mankind. That window has to just open a fraction by the mercy and power of the Mahabhagavat. And then that impression is going to open out all the deepest favorable sanskars and impressions to worship the Lord directly. That is how it happens. So the next heading is, why should a living entity remember, who should the living entity remember at every moment?
8:251 Kahara smarana jiva karibe anukshana Krishna nam guna lila pradana smarana.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, whom should the jiva remember at every moment? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, the principal objects to keep in mind are Sri Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So a commentary. In the first stage of sadhan, remembrance is done forcefully. But as the living being's oppositional stance towards Sri Krishna gradually diminishes, to that extent the natural remembrance of Sri Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes take place. Ultimately, the devotee will not desire to discuss mundane topics, even for a second. It's described even in the stage of ruchi, there is some effort required to experience the higher taste. But in the stage of asakti, there's no effort. It's just flowing by itself, that natural, deep attachment, anurag, for Krishna wakens in the heart. That's at the stage of asakti. And then bhav, it just flows on from there. Dedicated to not wasting even 1 second of time. What is that? It's the stage of bhav, avyakta kalatvam. It's kala atvam, not wasting a moment of one's life. These 9 symptoms of bhav bhakti, avyakta kalatvam, viraktiya manasunyata, ashabandha samutkanta, namagana sadaruchi, ashaktis tatgunat kene, pritistis, vishate stale. These 9 symptoms of bhav. So from when this natural flow of attraction is coming at the stage of asakti, then bhav will make its appearance. He thus considers wasting a moment as being equivalent to universal devastation. This is how the gopis describe a moment of absence from Krishna. Yugayate ramishena chakshusam sunyayitam sunyayacham jagat sarvam govinda viramaheme. That the Mahaprabhu is saying in Shikshastikam, 1 moment is like devastating for them.
Tasmat sarvatmana rajan ari sarvatra sarvada srotavya kirtitavyascha smaratavyo bhagavan nrinam.
Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 2nd chapter, verse 36. Therefore, O Parikshit, human beings always and in every circumstance with their complete energy should remember, glorify, and hear about Bhagavan Sri Hari. So in this chapter, Shukadeva has made his appearance at the beginning of the 2nd canto, and now he's expressing this to Parikshit Maharaj. Sri Jiva Goswami, commentary, Sri Jiva Goswami in Sri Bhakti Sandarbha has described 5 types of smarana, or remembrance. They are smarana, to initially inquire just slightly about Sri Krishna. 2. Dharana, to remember Sri Krishna to a limited extent. 3. Dhyana, to experience a partial manifestation or catch a momentary vision of Sri Bhagavan in the heart, or to glimpse his form, dress, or ornaments. Drita Smriti. 4. To retain a fixed meditation upon Bhagavan. Fixed now, fixed. These are all stages, like we've been through in the whole, this Sangvad, of steps, stages. So now here's another 5 stages to appreciate. And then number 5, Samadhi, to receive darshan or spurti of Bhagavan's leelas, which are filled with varieties of ras. Sri Krishna's name, form and pastimes are all of the same nature as Sri Krishna. Remembrance of Sri Krishna is the most important remembrance, and which is the foundation or root of the congregational chanting of the holy name.
Krishna Nama Krishna Guna Krishna Leela Vrinda Krishnera Swarupa Sama Sabha Chidananda.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 17, verse 135. The holy name of Sri Krishna, his transcendental qualities and pastimes, as well as the very Swarup of Sri Krishna, are all equal. They are Chid Ananda, or spiritual, and full of bliss. Another question. What is the most important meditation?
8-252. Dheya Madhye Jivera Kartavya Kon Dhyana Radha Krishna Padambuja Dhyana Pradhana.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, of all types of meditation, which one should the jiva engage in as his actual religious duty? Because there are so many indications of different meditations in the Shastra, so many. Shri Ramananda Rai replied, the most important meditation is to contemplate on the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. It doesn't just say Krishna, it says Radha and Krishna. There's a big distinction here, because Mahaprabhu is introducing practically the worship of Radha. Prior to Mahaprabhu, then Krishna was most glorified. Prior to that, even principally Lord Narayan. But with the advent of Mahaprabhu, he established the respectability of Sri Radhika's relationship with Krishna, particularly in Parakiya. This is Mahaprabhu's monumental contribution. This is why we are so melting in gratitude to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Commentary. The samadhi of the jnanis and yogis is nirvikalpa, a state in which the meditator, the object of meditation, and the act of meditation do not endure, since everything becomes shunya, or zero. Neither the realization nor the perceiver live on. Conversely, in the samadhi of the devotees, the meditator, the object of meditation, Sri Bhagavan, and the meditation process will continue. Meditating upon the divine pastimes of the Supreme Person, the devotee obtains spurti, or a vision, within the heart of them, and he actually sees his object of meditation. We were describing yesterday. It's unlimited, fathomless. This ocean is unlimited, fathomless. There's no end to it. It just increases and increases and increases. That's the nature of prema itself, ever increasing. So we should also assess, examine our bhajan, our progress. Is that becoming more invigorated, more inspiring, day by day by day? Is that moving forward? We were talking about this yesterday. The same dynamic is there for the practitioner. It's never ending. It's always opening to newer and newer horizons of wonderment.
Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येय पूज्यश्च नित्यदा.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 2, 14. Therefore, with a one-pointed mind, one should constantly hear about, chant, meditate upon, and worship Bhagavan, who is very affectionate to his devotees. We need this reassurance from Shastra on our path, just how affectionate Krishna is to his sincere devotees who are desirous to reawaken their constant affection and service to his lotus feet. This requires practice. It requires dedication, sincerity, enthusiasm, daily. It has to be constant to be realized. So next, where should one reside?
8:253 सर्वत्यजी जीवेर कर्तव्य कहाँ वास श्री वृंदावन भूमि यहाँ नित्य लीला रास.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, where should the jiva reside, abandoning everything? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, one should live in Brajabhumi, Sri Vrindavan, where the Rasa Leela is eternally performed. It's in the atmosphere of Vrindavan itself. In Vrindavan, the nature of the atmosphere is conducive to moving ahead towards seva, to Sri Radhika's lotus feet. It's there. Everyone is saying Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. That's the atmosphere, that's the mood of the whole of Braj. So commentary. Among the diverse pastimes of Akila Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Krishna, the Ras Leela festival reigns as the crest jewel of all. This is the crest jewel of all Krishna's pastimes. Every other pastime is contained within this Ras Leela, just like every pastime is contained within the chanting of the holy name. It is all there, compressed within the holy name, which occurred in the supreme abode of Sri Vrindavan. Whoever possesses the single-minded greed to attain Braja Prem should reside only in Sri Vrindavan. Sri Ramananda Rai's precise meaning is that one should live in Vrindavan, which is manifest here on earth, and which is special as it provides the setting for the extraordinary Ras Leela. There are three principal manifestations of Sri Vrindavan Dham: Aprakat, Prakat, and Drishtaman. Aprakat, the supreme abode, Sri Goloka Dham, which exists eternally and which is entirely beyond the material elements. Aprakat. And Prakat, everything that accompanies the Lord's appearance in this world, because Bhagavan performs his manifest pastimes here in this world. The material nature is involved in his pastimes. So Prakat, Bhauma Vrindavan, earthly Vrindavan. And then Drishyaman, that which is within the common, sensual jurisdiction of general people. So now we have a beautiful description of this. This Uddhav is being considered here as a general person. He's a Jnani Bhakta. He sees Krishna with full Aishwarya Bhav as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but his heart and soul is in service to the Braja Ramanis. This is this verse. Go ahead.
Asam aho charana renu jusham aham syam vrindavane kimapi gulma latau sadinam ya dushyajam swajanam aryapatam chahitva bejur mukunda padavim srutibhir vim gyam.
This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-61. This is the Brahmara Gita, when Uddhav goes to Vrindavan and he's glorifying the gopis. Sri Uddhav is saying, the best thing that could possibly happen to me is that I take birth in this Vrindavan as a forest bush, creeper, herb, or even a medicinal root. If I could become one of these, then I would continuously be able to serve the foot dust from the lotus feet of the Braja Gopis. If I could bathe myself in their foot dust, then I would become most fortunate. How blessed are those gopis. Just see. They have abandoned those things which are most difficult to give up, relations with their family members, and the restrictions imposed by society and seniors. They have obtained the lotus feet of Bhagavan, complete absorption in those feet, and the topmost love for him. What more can I say? Even the Shrutis, which are the Vedic instructions and emanate from the breathing of the Supreme Lord, are still searching for that same super excellent, love-laden form of Sri Krishna, but they cannot attain it. So this is our sadhan. This is our focus, which is what Mahaprabhu is opening out here with these questions and answers. What is the abhideya? So we've reached the prayojan, and now we know what is the sadhya, the anugatya of the gopis' lotus feet, and now how to attain that. And we're hearing Uddhav's heartfelt prayer just to be remaining in Braj as a bush or a herb or a forest creeper. So this is his enthusiasm, this is his utsaha to attain this goal. This greed is the quality of Rag Marg. Without that greed, we cannot break through the boundaries of this material constraint that we're surrounded by in this material illusion. Okay. What is the best topic to hear?
8 to 54. Shravana madhye jeevera kon shreshta shravana Radha Krishna prema keli karna rasayana.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, out of all topics to hear, which topic is the best for the living entity? Sriman Ramananda Rai replied, hearing about the amorous affairs of Radha and Krishna, which is like a medicinal tonic for the ears, karna rasayan, is the best of all. So anyone who thinks or condemns hearing Braj Katha or Lila Katha or the pastimes of Radha and Krishna described in the 10th canto, then they are misguided, foolish, and mostly greatly unfortunate. If they don't want to hear those topics, this is the conclusion, the goal. Their adhikar will be much less, of course. This is why they don't have a desire to hear these topics. So commentary. What to speak of the jivas? Even Rasik Shekhar Sri Krishna hears the songs describing his own loving affairs. After taking complete sannyas, Sri Bilvamangala Thakur was traveling towards Sri Vrindavan, singing about the sweet amorous pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. Being unable to withhold himself, Sri Krishna began following behind him, listening to his singing. Eventually, those songs were compiled into a book by the same Sri Bilvamangala Thakur, entitled Sri Krishna Karanamrita, meaning that which pours nectar into the ears of Sri Krishna. The amorous affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are compared to the most vital rasayan, life-restoring tonic. Shravan, or hearing, is of two types, Vichar Pradhan and Ruchi Pradhan. In Vichar Pradhan, the hearer is full of doubts, just like Arjun. In Ruchi Pradhan, the hearer has no doubts in the statements of the scriptures, and he hears the descriptions of the qualities of the Lord with great relish. Sri Narad is an example of this. It is also written. So this Vichar Pradhan. Vichar means analysis or deliberation. This is like Vaidhi Bhakti, questioning, hesitation. Whereas Rag, Ruchi, is full-blown, attentive, faithful hearing. So now this verse comes at the very end of the Rasa Panchadi. It's the last verse in the Rasa Panchadi after we heard 5 chapters coming through from the gopis running to the forest, and then Pranaya Geet, and then the gopis searching for Krishna after Krishna has left, and then them discovering Sri Radhika, then the Gopi Geet. Then there's a chapter on the reunion, and then there's the full-blown Rasa Leela chapter itself, chapter 33. So this is the final verse in the whole Rasa Panchadya.
Vikrididam vrajavadubhir idam cha Vishno Shraddhanvito nushrunuyat ata varnayedyaha Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogam as apahinato achirena dhiraha.
So Bhagavatam 10:33-40. O Parikshit, a grave person who faithfully and continuously hears the narrations of the transcendental pastimes that Bhagavan Sri Krishna performed with the young girls of Braj, and then describes those pastimes accordingly, achieves supreme devotion for the lotus feet of Bhagavan. He very quickly attains freedom from the diseases of the heart, which are the transformations of lust, this kridrogam, diseases of the heart. So, what is the most worshipable object?
8:55 Upashrera madhye kon upasya pradhan shreshta upasya yugala Radha Krishna nam.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, among all worshipable objects, which is the best? Sri Ramananda Rai replied, the holy names of Sri Radha and Krishna are the chief worshipable object. Now, commentary, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has said,
Radheti nama navasundara gita mugdam Krishneti nama madhuradbhuta gada rupam sarvakshanam surabhiraga himena ramyam kritva tadeva piba me rasane kshudharte.
This is from Abhista Sucharna, text 10. The name Radha is just like fresh, pleasing nectar that enchants the mind, and the name Krishna is like astonishing, sweet, and thick condensed milk. O tongue, tortured by lust, mix the two together, add the fragrant ice of anurag, and continuously drink this superb beverage. What an elixir. Shri Narottam Das Thakur also says, Radha Krishna Namagana Aise Parama Dhyan Arana Kariha Paraman. The chanting of the holy names of Sri Radha and Krishna is the supreme meditation. Do not accept any other process as the goal. This is from Prem Bhakti Chandrika. So today we sang a very similar bhajan to this. Sri Krishna is the very source or root cause of all incarnations, Bhagavat Swarup, and his Hladini Shakti is Sri Radha. Among couples such as Sri Shiva Parvati, Sri Lakshmi Narayan, Sri Sita Ram, and Sri Rukmini Krishna, the name of the divine couple, Sri Radha and Krishna, is indeed the ultimate object of worship for the jivas.
Etavan eva lokesmin pumsam dharma parasmrita bhakti yogo bhagavati tannamagrahanadibihi.
This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 6:3-22. This is when Yamaraj is speaking to the Yamadutas who have been astonished by the Vishnu Dutas, and he's in the court of his kingdom, and he's so happy to be able to hear and talk about devotional service. The supreme religious activity or duty for the jivas of this world is to attain devotional sentiments for the lotus feet of the Lord by methods such as chanting the holy names. By the way, if anyone's in touch with Facebook, somehow it's just not connecting. I don't know what that means. I can't reconnect it without ending the stream. So I'm just patiently waiting for it to come back on again. So I'm just going to keep... Oh, it's come back now. It's come back now. It's come back. Haribol, Facebook, we went dark for a while. I'll just repeat that because you missed. So the supreme religious activity or duty for the jivas of this world is to attain devotional sentiments for the lotus feet of the Lord by methods such as chanting the holy names. This is the principal method for, what's that, Kale dosha nidhi rajan asti hyeko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha parambrajet. That, O king, this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, but there is one good quality, mahan guna, that is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So take this very seriously. Next question. What is the fate of those desiring liberation and those desiring sense gratification? So liberation and sense gratification are collectively the same. Go ahead.
8-56 Mukti bhukti vanche ye kaha duhar gati stavara deha deva deha eche avastiti.
Sriman Mahaprabhu asked, what is the fate of those who desire liberation or of those who desire sense gratification? Sri Ramananda Roy replied, those who desire liberation and those who desire sense gratification achieve the bodies of non-moving species and demigods respectively. So those who desire liberation will attain the bodies of non-moving species, and those who desire sense gratification will attain the bodies of demigods. Commentary. Those who perform pious activities in this world achieve the bodies of Indra, the king of heaven, or other demigods. Alternatively, they are born into a high-class human family, or those who perform inauspicious activities repeatedly take the bodies of non-moving species, such as trees, worms, insects, birds, and beasts. Those desirous of liberation who do not have any desire to enjoy materially, or in other words, those whose activities are bereft of consciousness and whose consciousness is like a sleep-like state, attain the bodies of non-moving species of life, while those who are dedicated to material enjoyment attain bodies appropriate for their desires by taking birth in the higher planets of demigods.
Muktaya prastra vaya shastramuche mahamunihi gautamam tam vijanita yata vitta tataiva saha.
Those who merge in the undifferentiated Brahman, Sayuja Mukti, become unconscious like stones and achieve a state of spiritual inactivity, destruction. That's the condition of consciousness if we merge into that Brahmajyoti, Sayuja. And those who follow the theories of Gautam become liberated and achieve a similar state. So this is explaining about the bodies of non-moving species of life. They will attain a body like a stone in the Brahmajyoti because there's no sambandha, there's no relationship there. The following pertains to those who are possessed of desires for material enjoyment.
Ishtveha devata yagnai swarlokam yati yagnika bhunjita devavat tatra bhogan divyan nijarjitan.
Srimad Bhagavatam 11:10-23. One who worships the demigods upon receiving the results of his pious activities goes to the heavenly planets, where he enjoys just like a demigod.
Kvachit puman kvachit chastri kvachin no bhayam andadihi devo manushastira yagva yata karma gunam bhavaha.
Bhagavatam 4:29-29. According to the work he has performed and the modes of nature he has acquired, the living entity takes birth, sometimes as a human being, sometimes as a demigod, and sometimes as a bird, an animal, and so on. Blinded by ignorance, the jiva sometimes becomes a man, a woman, or sometimes a eunuch. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9:20-21, also it says,
Traividyamam somapa putapapa yajnair tishva swargatim prartayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye matya lokam vishanti yevam trai dharmam anuprapanna gata gatam kama kama labante.
those who are full of material desires and dedicated to fruitive activities mentioned in the three Vedas worship me and drink somaras, the remnants of yajna, and pray to ascend to heaven. By the result of their pious activities, they achieve the planet of Indra and enjoy the divine paraphernalia suitable for the demigods. After having enjoyed the vast expanses of the heavenly planets, when their stock of pious activities is exhausted, they again fall into this world of birth and death. Thus, persons who practice this sakam karma, or reward-orientated activity, as described in the three Vedas, are full of petty material desires, and they repeatedly wander in the cycle of birth and death. The observation has been made that in some books the words mukti bhukti have been substituted for the words mukti bhakti. I'll read that again. The observation has been made that in some books the word mukti bhukti have been substituted for the words mukti bhakti. It follows that those who desire bhakti at the time of perfection achieve the bodies of associates of Sri Krishna that are suitable to their moods and render loving service to him in concordance with their respective bhavs or feelings of servitude. Their attainment of this service to the Lord has been compared to attaining the body of demigods. As a result of gaining service to Sri Krishna and obtaining a body like that of a demigod, the word bhakti is sometimes used instead of bhukti. For just as the demigods have freedom to enjoy varieties of happiness, so too a devotee attaining an associate's body gets to taste an array of the most astonishing ras by participating in Krishna's pastimes. So the same happiness, or practically sensuous happiness or enjoyment, takes place when one engages in Krishna's activities. That bliss is of a very high degree, such a degree. Okay.
257 to 260. Arasagna kakachushe jnana nimba phale rasagna kokila kaya premamra mukule abhagiya jnani ashvadaye sukshagnan krishna premamritapan kare bhagyavan ye mata dui jana krishna kata rase nritya gita rodane haila ratri seshe दोहा निज निज कार्ये चलीला विहाने संध्या काले राय आशी मिलीला आराधिने.
Impersonalists, Brahmagyanis, who are devoid of knowledge of transcendental mellows, are like the crows that continue to eat the bitter and tasteless fruit of the neem tree, whereas those who enjoy the mellows of bhakti ras, rasiks, are like the cuckoos who taste the soft and fragrant buds of the mango prem. The unfortunate empiric speculators, Gyanis, simply experience the happiness of dry and tasteless impersonal knowledge and consider themselves fortunate. However, those who are truly fortunate constantly drink the nectar of Krishna prem. The Gyanis remain ignorant of the happiness of Bhakti Ras and merely desire to achieve the Sayuja Mukti of merging into Brahman, which is dry, niryas, devoid of attributes, and which has no taste, form, qualities, pastimes, or astonishing varieties of bliss, just zero, shunya. Thus they remain absorbed in the delusion of the supposed oneness of the jiva and Brahman, Brahma Aikya Gyan, which has no real existence at all. Being cheated of bhakti ras, they simply chew the fruits of the neem tree in the form of the four supposed Mahavakyas, or principal statements of the Vedas, by chanting Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So this is like the Sankaracharya was deluding the populace by pointing this goal of this Nirvishesh Brahm. And he converted the whole of India, this Advaitavad, and still the remnants are very, very strong there. People want to be, imagine they can be happy in this Shantaras, without activities, without form, worshipping the impersonal form of the Lord, or just the impersonal aspect of the Lord. You say, Vedanti tat tattva vedas tattvam yagyanam advayam brahmati paramatmati bhagavan iti shapyate. These are three aspects of Krishna, the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But the Brahman and Paramatma are both like impersonal aspects, features of the Lord. But one does not lead to the other. If you merge in the Brahman, you will remain in the Brahman. If you realize Paramatma realization, you will stay in that realization like a yogi. You can't go from there to Bhagavan, because you're completely satisfied in that place. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kanchati. No more material desires, no more hankering. Therefore, why would you desire anything else? So you just stay there. It's such a dangerous place to be, that place of liberation. And Paramatma feature of the yogis is also completely dangerous. You get some yogic potency, some power, and you realize Paramatma within all living entities, but you don't realize the personal form of Bhagavan. This is a most dangerous place to be. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has said that this false knowledge is like the bitter fruit of the neem tree, which is very unpalatable and which is enjoyed by crow-like jivas who are quarrelsome and attached to false logic. Thus prem is likened to the buds of a mango tree, whose taste is sweet, well-liked, and full of flavorful juice. The devotees of Sri Krishna who taste this are compared to cuckoos. They are fortunate, while the Gyanis are bereft of good fortune. In this way, Sriman Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai passed the full night relishing the ras of Krishna Katha, or topics of Krishna, and thus as they chanted, danced, and wept, the night ended. The next morning they departed to perform their respective duties. But in the evening, Sri Ramananda Rai returned to meet the Lord again and passed the whole night as before. So practically we've completed this staircase that Mahaprabhu has so generously bestowed upon the jivas. And these last chapters are so powerful and so important. These questions and answers constitute the gyan, the sadhan bhajan that the jiva must perform, the abhideya. It's conclusively pointing in the direction. What is knowledge? Knowledge of Krishna. What is remembrance? Remembrance of Krishna. What is the greatest song? The Maha Mantra. So, what is the living entity to remember at every moment? Radha and Krishna's pastimes. It's saying over again and again and again and again. So, in your study of this Ramananda Rai, take time to dwell in this questions and answers section. It's very, very potent. I know the whole time I've just been going through the whole of this Sangvad very briefly. We've just been rolling very fast through. I've practically not commented at all. I've just tried to let the text itself carry us to its conclusion. So, but if we have time in our own meditation, etc., we can unpack much more carefully these chapters, especially these questions and answers. They're very, very pertinent for our bhajan. So there's a final chapter called The Final Evening, and we'll discuss this probably on Tuesday, because tomorrow, Monday, is Vasant Panchami, and it's the appearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami, the disappearance, I think, of Vishnu Priya, the disappearance, I think, of, or appearance of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. It's Pundarik Vidyanidhi also, and it's also Vasant Panchami itself, and there's one other. Oh, I've said Pundarik?
Yes.
And there's one other also. That's 5. Anyway, on Monday we'll be discussing that, and then on Tuesday we'll resume this, and then on Wednesday next week it's Advaita Saptami. So we'll be discussing Advaita Acharya. Then I think it's Thursday we can come back to this, and Thursday and Friday it's Madhavacharya and Ramanujacharya. Disappearance. So next week it's packed with festivals, but we will find one day, I think Tuesday, and perhaps Thursday and Friday, just to complete walking through this Sangvad. But please bear in mind that we've just briefly, very briefly gone through this. If we have a lot of time, we could sit for a whole year going through, especially these final chapters, this Prem Vilas Vivart, especially the Sadhya, unpacking it, especially Radha Tattva, Krishna Tattva, etc., and especially the Sadhya, the method of attainment, of worship of the gopis. This anugatya of the gopis is the principal jewel the conditioned jivas can take away from this. So, Rai Ramananda Sangvad ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya, Patitanam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rai Ramananda Sangvad ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.